I don't know how to feel about the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer. Part of me wants to be excited about the future of Star Wars and the future of the Mandalorian, and I think part of that is maybe because I was expecting it to look more like a movie, whereas this just looks like season 4 or a continuation of the TV series filmed in essentially the same way, having that same aesthetic. And that's also aside from some of the controversy Disney is involved in right now. I don't really want to talk about that today. I just want to talk about Star Wars. Because if this is supposed to be the grand return of Star Wars to theaters for the first time since the end of the sequel trilogy since 2019, at the moment it feels kind of underwhelming.
Good shot, baby.
Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Now, I've seen online people talking about how the trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu that was shown at Star Wars Celebration earlier this year was much more exciting than this. It involved Mando taking down an AT-AT, as we see happening here, but in more detail. But this trailer itself, to me, just doesn't seem like it builds that much hype. And part of the problem I have with it is that once again, we are just resetting the Mandoverse. They're resetting what's happening with this character. They're once again just relying on all these cute moments with Grogu to, I guess, get people interested. But I'm not sure that's going to work the same this time around. I think people are getting a bit tired of it and are maybe catching on to the marketing angle of just continuously showing Grogu so we can sell more Grogu toys. People are interested in Grogu. They want to see the cute moments. They're going to go see this in theaters. But in terms of resetting the Mandoverse, Season 3 kind of already did that. Mando doesn't take off his helmet the entire series, even though at the end of Season 2, his character progression leads to him learning that it's okay for him to take off his helmet, and that he's not necessarily going to follow the strict Mandalorian way. It was also reunited with Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett, undoing the climactic ending of Mandalorian Season 2, and now it seems like they're really taking that a few steps further, because the Mandalorian somehow has his Razor Crest back. Somehow the Razor Crest returned.
Somehow.
And I'm pretty sure it's a new Razor Crest, which doesn't really make sense as well. Like, how did he find this? I guess they really just want it to be his ship, and he's kind of done with the N1 Naboo Starfighter. I think a lot of people think the Naboo Starfighter wasn't a great choice for him anyway, considering it's not really a bounty hunting ship, and only he and Grogu can really fit in it. So in terms of plot progression and wanting to bring other characters on board, they can't all travel together in the N1 Naboo Starfighter, so what do? They give him back his Razor Crest.
Somehow.
And this yellow paint on it looks like band-aids. It's like they've bandaged the ship together. But if you remember correctly, Moff Gideon absolutely annihilated that thing. Like, it's not at all salvageable. Look at it completely disintegrate in this explosion. So he somehow found himself a new Razor Crest because he's the Mandalorian. He needs his ship. And this frustrates me because it's yet again another step backwards in his character progression, in his character's evolution. He's not evolving anyway. He's receding back to who he was, which I guess is their idea and potentially was their original idea with The Mandalorian before they turned it into a broader, larger narrative that fits into the Star Wars timeline. The Mandalorian initially was supposed to be a serialized type of Star Wars show, where essentially the Mando and Grogu would go on a new adventure every week. There'd be some consequences and some level of danger, but nothing too crazy, and the following week in the next episode everything would kind of be back to normal and they'd be out on a new adventure. And this film is certainly following that formula. It's inspired by the old 1950s serialized type of TV shows that inspired George Lucas to make Star Wars. Shows like Flash Gordon. And I feel like over the course of The Mandalorian's 3 seasons, they kind of had a push-pull relationship with this style of show. Some episodes were just about what happened in that episode, whereas other episodes were much more about the broader plot. Maybe Mandalorian and Grogu didn't need more plot progression. Maybe it should have just been this fun weekly adventure, which is seemingly what this feels like. It's especially obvious that they're going for that with the title design. This thing looks like one of those serialized old 1950s shows, which is also what Indiana Jones was inspired by. That's why it kind of looks similar to the Indiana Jones logo. You've also kind of got the corniness of some of these creatures, these scenes. Mando goes off to fight Big Monster this week. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this. Also, this arena is seriously reminding me of the Haxian Brood from Jedi Fallen Order. I believe this hut here is also supposed to be Rotter the Hutt, Jabba the Hutt's son, and he's played by Jeremy Allen White. But they have also kind of given us just a bit of a nothing trailer. Like, it's a collection of scenes. I know people complain when the trailer reveals the entire plot of the movie, but this reveals literally none of the plot. out. It literally feels like a compilation of clips from season 4 of The Mandalorian. And for a movie that's supposed to reboot Star Wars in the cinemas and is essentially rebooting The Mandalorian in a way as well, I'm just not feeling the hype right now, and I'm sure a lot of you are feeling the same. The trailer genuinely just feels like a collection of random characters and moments. Things that don't necessarily have any stakes. I'm sure as we progress and get closer to the release of this thing in May 2026, they're going to give us more trailers and reveal more of what this is actually about, but I don't think anyone's feeling confident that this is going to restore people's faith in the future of Star Wars and the future direction they're taking the franchise. It's trying to be super neutral and harmless, but I'm not sure that's the way forward, especially considering, I guess, the success of Andor recently, which is super plot driven, super dialogue heavy, complete opposite of this, where basically there's like nothing said in this entire trailer. Does anyone even speak apart from the ending?
Good shot, baby.
A few things to note: we see Zeb Aurelius in action. He seems to be wielding an electro staff similar to what the Magna Guards use. This appears to be a Mana Man, a bounty hunter that appeared in the background in Return of the Jedi. Super random that they're putting this character in. But that feels kind of zany and in keeping with the vibe they're really going for here. You know, to return to those puppet style characters, the animatronics that the originals had. The location with the AT-ATs reminds me of Vandor, that planet from Solo: A Star Wars Story. It could be here, or it could be somewhere completely new. It could even be Hoth, for all we know. But I'm pretty sure the AT-ATs belong to an Imperial remnant, so clearly Mandalorian and Grogu are once again getting involved in Imperial activity, or Imperial remnant activity. They are what remains.
It is good to restore the natural order of things after a period of such disarray. Don't you agree?
In the poster also, Mando is riding an AT-RT. Also, this weapon here to me looks like the Ambon Pulse Rifle, another weapon the Mandalorian used to have and I believe was destroyed while aboard the Razor Crest. So somehow he's also found himself one of these again. It seriously feels like they're doing that full Mandalorian reset, and I'm assuming also the events of this are going to lead up to placing the Mandalorian in position for his involvement in the Dave Filoni film that's going to bring together the characters from Ahsoka, from the Book of Boba Fett, from Mandalorian, and who knows where else. Could be anywhere. Anyone's coming back at this point.
Somehow.
I've also seen a lot of people saying it feels like they've just essentially condensed a single episode of The Mandalorian into a film. Like Jon Favreau's just gone and turned what was an episode into a movie. Based on what he said in the past in interviews, I'm not sure that's the case. He seems to think he's got an idea for a movie, which is why they've made this, and the story is more suitable to the big screen. I'm not sure how true that's going to be. They're also releasing this in IMAX, but again, the footage from here looks no different to TV show, so I guess it'll look cool on the big screen. The Mandalorian certainly isn't the best looking Star Wars show. I think you have to give that to Andor, considering it's all filmed on real locations versus this being filmed inside using that volume LED technology, where it's a giant screen they're projecting images onto. And I think based on what we've seen on this trailer, this still very much feels like that. It doesn't feel like they're filming on many real life locations. It feels like it's filmed indoors. Not to say it looks awful, I just figured if they were doing something for the big screen, maybe they'd give it a different aesthetic, but clearly not.
Impressive.
I feel like this also pretty much confirms we're not getting a season 4 of The Mandalorian at all, unless they decide to do it after this, but it feels like all their focus right now is just going to be on getting this in the cinema, and then potentially moving on to other different Star Wars projects after this. Hard to say. The budget for this is also rumored to be roughly $166 million, which first of all makes it the cheapest Star Wars film ever made, and if we compare it to the budget of Mandalorian Season 1, which was about $100 to $120 million, which is the price for 8 episodes, I guess you could say they're putting the budget of what? I don't know, 12 Mandalorian episodes into this movie. I assume the runtime's going to be, what, an hour 30, an hour 40? It doesn't look like anything crazy or long, especially because we haven't had a plot revealed yet. But I don't know, I'm definitely going to go see it in cinemas. I'm excited to see the return of Star Wars to the big screen. I guess I just thought, as a lot of you probably did, we'd be a bit more excited about going back to see Star Wars. Like, anytime a Star Wars film has been in the cinemas, even if it was one that I was really skeptical about, like The Rise of Skywalker, for example, a film I did not enjoy, there's still been that hype and excitement from months earlier, wondering where they're going to take Star Wars and where this next film is going to take the franchise. For this one, I'm just not feeling it yet. And maybe that's just because this trailer is quite vague, but I'd love to know if you're feeling it. I'd love to know if you're excited about this, if you care about any of the other stuff that's going on, and if you're just happy to see the return of Star Wars to the big screen. Let me know in the comments. For more Star Wars, watch one of these videos here. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Discord, TikTok, and thanks for watching this. Always remember,
stay bombastic.